Hello everybody, welcome to another Painting Perfection video, and in this one I'm going to show you some of the examples of things that we've done. I'm going to be working from our small pots, which I absolutely love, and we're also going to be using some teaching guides. So let's take a little look at some of the designs. So first of all, this is painting candles, and there's a couple of things I'd like to just point out. First of all, you'll notice there's a little soft mist across the back of the design. Well, that's where I've spritzed it using one of the spritzer bottles and my Cadence paint. And you make that mixture by mixing about 20% of the paint with 80% of your extender into a spritzer bottle, give it a good shake, and then you can get this lovely soft effect here. The other thing that I've also done is I've got some little accent lines over where I've painted. And for those, I've just used a white pen, just to give me a little bit more detail and bring some of the elements to life. It's also great for doing some stitching around the outside edge. Then I'm moving on to our little holly wreath. Well, there's sort of crescent, very simple to do. The berries are incredibly easy. We'll just take the wrong side of a paintbrush dipped in paint, swirl it round, and then little tiny highlights of white, finish that off. I've also got my acorns, which are super pretty, very little detailed bow in there, and then just some berries, not a lot of foliage, just a couple of holly leaves to finish off that design. This one is all about the poinsettia. Now, these do look stunning painted in red, but they also look great when you get these pastel shades, this lovely white, very, very pale green, and almost like a mink in the centre. Again, I've used that white pen just to accent round the edge of the card and put a few random lines in. Now we're coming on to our snowman. He is beautiful. He's got a lot of texture in the snow at the bottom, and that's been done using the artificial snow that you'll find on Highlight Crafts. Also have got that detail that we've got on his hat and also around his scarf. And don't miss out on putting the tassels on the bottom of the scarf, because that really brings the whole thing to life. And then finally, the robin. Now, the robin is probably the one that I love the most in this collection. His hat is done using a stippling brush. So we double load the brush, and that's done just like stippling. Same for the snow that we've got, the bubble on his hat. His tail feathers and his wings are done by using a flat brush, literally on the chisel edge, and flicking those strokes out, as we're all familiar with. So there's some of the designs that you'll find amongst these videos that I'm doing for you. And then if we take a little look at the pages themselves, in this collection, there are quite a few different designs. First of all, you're going to see here, you've got the acorns and the bows, and then an overall composition. The second one we've got is our robin. Very simple to do. It's important the order that you paint in. By putting his tail feathers and his wings in, when you come to put his body in, it's captured behind the body and it gives you a really good finish. And you can see here, it makes it incredibly tidy when you're looking at having all those elements together. Then we've got the holly. Now the design looks like it's got a lot of detail in here, and it's the order you paint in that's important. So putting in the ferns, then the holly leaves, and finally those berries will bring that whole design to life. The poinsettia, we can do this in 2 steps, and you've got 2 steps on the paper pattern that's also in this kit or downloadable. And it's important when you're doing this that you get some open space in the middle of the design, and that these leaves and petals are not all on top of each other, because we want to be able to choose to do that as we build up the dimension in the flower. So there you can see one of our winter decorations. The snowman, a fabulous little snowman to do. Some accent pieces here with the trees, his little broom, the whole complete design. But these are the layers that you're going to be painting to create this effect. So first of all, the outside of the hat. Then we're going to put the top of it on. Finally, the little swish of the brim. And you can see how all of this builds up together. But if you put the snowman's face in before you do the rest of the hat, and it does mean working with 2 different brushes, you'll get a much nicer, smoother finish, and you can see that coming together. And then we've got here This is the candle. So building up the candle in a composition. Again, important the order that you build that up in. That's part of the design. How we actually transfer the design here. And then I've got a couple of little accent pieces that you might want. So the holly, you can put on anything. The hat, you might want to have this on the robin, but you could swap it for the snowman. So they're two different elements. And also putting branches on there as well. And then finally, some other pieces that link back to the crescent, but again, look great as a little embellishment just to go in the corner of a Christmas card. So how do we get that design onto our cardstock? That's the first thing that we're going to look at. And for that, I'm going to work with transfer paper. Now, you will find this on highlightcrafts.com. And you've got here two different kinds. I've got black and white. You'll notice they've been used multiple times. Each of the sheets comes in a pack of 4, and this is a full-size sheet. But cut it down so that it's a convenient size for you to work with. And then we're ready to get started. So I'm going to work with the white on black card, and I'd use the black if I was working on a lighter card where white wouldn't show up. So I'm going to start off by let's do our acorns first of all. So we take this paper, and one side of it feels waxy to touch, the other side of it's very matte. So the waxy side is going to go down onto your cardstock or the surface you're painting. You then take your pattern and place it over the top. Now, when you do this, of course, I've just gone sort of random in the middle of this piece of cardstock. But if you want to position it in a particular place, cut it out first and lay it down, and then slide that paper underneath so that you know it stays in the right place. But as the positioning isn't critical, I'm just going to go right here. Now I'm going to take a pen, and I'm just going to draw on the design with the lines of where I actually are going to want to put my design. And when I'm drawing, it's giving me the chance to think about what order I'm going to paint in and where each of these elements is going to sit on the design itself. So which parts of it are going to be at the front, which parts of it are going to be at the back, and how I need to build the design. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see mine clearly isn't. What we need is a guideline, and that's what I've got here. So now I'm ready to start to build the design. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down the colour for this particular acorn. So I'm going to take 2 shades, and I'm going to be using those from the small pots that I've got. And I've got a flat brush, and I'm working with one of my new palettes that I've got. So a little triangle of colour from one pot and a triangle of colour from the other. And that then gets blended backwards and forwards. I'm going to pick up more paint until I'm happy that I've got sufficient actually on this brush. So enough so that I'm not going to run out of paint when I'm working. And I'm then going to start with the dark to the outside. And I'm just going to lay that brush down, and I'm just going to come round here and make myself an acorn. So I'm literally laying that down, coming round and making an acorn. And there you can see I've got that lovely acorn coming together. So now we're going to do the second one. And this one on my design is actually behind this one. It doesn't really matter which order you paint them in. I'm choosing to do them in this order. You could have done the other one first and it would have been absolutely fine. So I'm now going to go round again. So you can see that I've got that depth of colour where the shading is overlapping. And I'm now going to go round again there. And I'm just going to make sure that that fills in that gap. So I've got that nice detail, and there's the first of my acorn. I need a little bit of the little, was it almost like a little pip that comes out the bottom. So I'm just going to make sure I've got that on both of them. So there's the little pips at the bottom. And I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of white on because I want a tiny white highlight. I could have done this in one go, but for those of you that are still learning your brush loading, it really doesn't hurt to do this as a separate thing. Just putting this on. So I've got that little highlight that I'm just putting in right there. And I'm just going to go back over that one. So I've got some little highlights in them as well. Right. The next thing that I need to do is do the top of the acorn. So I'm going to go to a darker colour for that. So I'm going into my lovely chocolate brown, which is really lovely and creamy, and picking up some of the shades of the other colours that I've been working with. And this one is going to go here over the top and there over the top. So that's the first part. And then we're going to go down and round there. So I'm really sort of building up that little cap that you get on the top of your acorns. And then I'm just going to run the tip of the brush across the top like that. Now picking up more of that paint so I can put this one on as well. Going just slightly wider than the acorn itself. So we've got that little bit of detail there, and you can see how those highlights just bring the whole thing together. And again, I'm just going to pull in the bottom there. So I've pulled in the acorn detail. And my finished acorns have got sort of some texture on them. So I'm going to put that texture on now because it works. It's much, much easier to put it on at this stage than later on. So I'm literally just going to draw down some very simple lines. Just going to get a little bit more white on this brush. And then I'm going to just pull this across like this. So I've got just that little bit of texture on the top of the acorns. So there we go. There's the top of them. So my brown, I'm going to move out of the way because with the exception of just putting those stems in, which are here, so that's really quite easy and quick to do. I'm just going to put those in. The rest of it is going to be out different colours. So swapping my brush out now for another flat brush. I'm going to be doing in fact, no, I'm going to use the same one. I'm going to come into here and I'm going to work with the leaf green. So I'm going to put the leaf green where the dark green is. So load that brush, a little bit of white on the edge. So I've got a nice soft colour. We'll go into here and get a little bit of the clover as well. So got nice dark green, and I'm now going to put in my holly. So round and under, round and under. I'm going to turn the brush so I've got round and under and round and under, and then another little turn there. And let's take that one through the middle. And then here I'm going to go again up and up and up, and then just there. And if I do this one this way, you should be able to see each time I'm just lifting my brush and sliding it in. I'm just going to pull that one in there. And then I'm going to go again up, round, round and round. And then on this one, round, round and round, and just slide that. Now, the one that I've got up here, I'm not really happy with the colours, so I'm just going to go back over that part of the design, and then once more on this side, just making sure I've pulled in those colours and got that blend in together. And I need one more little holly leaf here that has actually just disappeared underneath the acorn, but you could put it back in if you wanted to. But once you've got it in, there's the 2 lines. So now we're ready to put in our bow that we've got, and of course those berries at the top. So I'm going to start off with the berries at the top. So I'm going to put in some nice big, let's do them crimson red. We'll get some nice big crimson red berries. So I've got the brush right on the chisel edge, and I'm just pushing those berries in so that I've got that nice detail that you can see there. Wiping down the end of the brush so that it's now ready for me to load with my next 2 colours, which are going to be the crimson red and the white. And I'm pulling those 2 colours together so that I've got plenty of paint on my brush. And I'm then going to put on the bow itself. So I'm going to come out here, round and back. So you can see I've got not quite enough paint on my brush, so I'm going to come back round and back again. Then we'll come back into the red, pick up some more, pick up some white, and we're ready to go up here. So up there and back. Now for this, I want to come down like that with one tail. I'm going to come down there with the other. I'm going to bring this one across this design there, and then we'll put a little knot in just there. And finally, I want to get a little highlight in here. So I'm just going to take the white onto this top of this brush. I'm just going to touch, pull and slide. And then on this one here, touch, pull and slide. And there you have it. There is the start of doing a really cute little Christmas design. Oh, one last little thing. We need the highlights on our berries. So let's take the white on the back of the brush and just put those little highlights on to finish it off. Hope you'll join me for the next one in the series, and I'll see you in just a few minutes.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications of all of our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.